a new beginning in a new town. After 2 decades of city life, Regina Martin was ready for a fresh start. At 40, she was a dedicated mother of four: 17-year-old Jayden, 12-year-old Ava, 11-year-old Mia, and her youngest, 7-year-old Carter. Regina had left behind the bustling streets of Chicago to settle in a quiet suburb, hoping for a safer, more peaceful life for her family. As a nurse of 20 years, Regina knew a lot about healing others, but was only just beginning to heal herself. After a difficult divorce from her husband Daryl, she had decided to focus on her kids and build a new life away from his constant cycles of drinking, manipulation, and broken promises. She wasn't looking for romance, despite her friends' and family's best efforts to set her up with someone nice. Right now, she was just looking for peace. Navigating the new suburb. The neighborhood was different from anything they'd known before, a quiet mix of families from all backgrounds. Jayden adjusted quickly, making new friends at the high school and finding his place on the football team. His sisters, Ava and Mia, were enrolled in a local middle school and joined art and music clubs, eager to blend into their new world. Regina watched her children adapt, feeling a pang of pride mixed with worry. Though she was relieved to be out of the city, she couldn't help but wonder if she'd made the right decision. The whispers of her past still haunted her, especially the memories of Daryl and the way his addiction had torn their family apart. She wanted so badly to let go of that part of her life, but there were reminders she couldn't escape. Daryl's return. 2 years had passed since the move, and Regina was finally beginning to feel settled. She'd established herself at the local hospital. Her kids were thriving, and they'd even made friends in the neighborhood. Then, one evening, she heard a familiar voice on the other end of the line. It was Daryl. "Regina, I want to see the kids. I've changed. I miss you all." Her heart pounded as memories flooded back. Late nights waiting up for him, the lies, the broken promises, the bruises on her heart she'd tried so hard to mend. She knew that while Daryl's words might be sincere, his actions had never matched his promises. "You've said this before, Daryl," she replied, keeping her voice steady. "I've moved on. We've moved on." But Daryl persisted, reminding her of the good times they'd shared, insisting he was sober now, even though Regina knew he was still living with his mother, who was more than willing to buy his beers and enable his behavior. Her kids, particularly Jayden, who remembered the worst of his father's drinking, were adamant about not letting him back in. The children's struggle with the past. As Daryl kept calling, the kids began to feel the strain. Jayden, now nearly a man himself, resented his father's attempts to reconnect after years of absence and pain. Ava and Mia were torn between the few good memories they had of their father and the pain they'd seen their mother endure. Even Carter, though young, sensed the tension. One night Jayden found Regina sitting alone, staring at a family photo from years ago, tears welling in her eyes. "Mom," he said, his voice gentle yet firm, "we don't need him to be a family. You've done everything for us. I don't want you to hurt anymore." Regina looked at her son, grateful yet heartbroken. She wanted to protect her children from the scars of the past, but it seemed that Daryl's presence in their lives would never fully disappear. A final confrontation. After weeks of Daryl's persistent calls, Regina finally agreed to meet him in a neutral place, hoping for closure. She told him firmly, "I don't want to go back to where we were. You've had chances to change, and I've moved on." But Daryl grew angry, blaming her for his downfall, accusing her of abandoning him. As his words grew louder and angrier, she stayed calm, refusing to let his manipulation affect her. "It's not my responsibility to fix you, Daryl," she said, her voice shaking but resolute. "I tried for years. Now I need to protect my children, and that means keeping them away from you." For the first time, Daryl was silent. He had always known Regina to back down in the past, but now her strength was unshakable. She turned and walked away, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders as she left Daryl behind, this time for good. the healing. That evening, Regina gathered her children around and shared her decision. She explained that she had spoken with their father one last time and that she was finally letting go of the past for all of them. Jayden hugged her tightly, tears in his eyes. "Thank you, Mom, for everything." Ava and Mia, too, clung to her, their mother's courage inspiring them to let go of their own fears and resentment. In that moment, the family felt stronger, bound not by their past, but by the love that had helped them.
Thanks for joining us on this adventure through Kind Park Stories.